Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe football show. And that there was specifically for War Piglet, because he was like, yo, we're going to take some bets on how late Joe's going to be tonight. And I was actually early. So there you go. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Listen, it's been a busy day for me today. I've been out all day with the kids shopping, them spending my money, basically. But I said I would treat them. I've come back. I've had more McDonald's and then watched Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. The kids had never seen it. If you remember, we were talking about it only the other day, saying Finkel and Einhorn and Finkel. And I was like, oh, it's on Netflix. Let's watch it. So we watched it. So that was fun. That's just finished. And now we're back live. And just as we're about to go live, there's been some links to Joel Pirro. We're going to talk about Joel Pirro and the potential links and whether or not they're credible, and it's coming from a credible source right here, right now. But we know Leeds United have had an interest in Joel Pirro in the past anyway, so he could well be a viable option. But this guy that's doing this reporting, my good man Andrea Russo, who I'm just going to bring in a second, called him the Harry Kuehl of journalism. I like it because, yeah, let's talk about it a little bit later on. But obviously some news did happen, which absolutely nearly knocked me over, was the fact that Roma, European finalists, Europa Conference League winners just a season ago, are taking Rasmus as well as Diego. I think Jose Mourinho in his old age might be going a bit senile, because I don't know what he sees in Rasmus Christensen, but hey, it is what it is. But let's get the view from, of course, Italy, and the view from my very good friend, Andrea Russo. Andrea, how are you doing? Good day?
Great, mate. Good day. Relaxed a lot. Chill a lot today.
Good.
Saturdays without football are different, but, it's time to relax and chill a bit, before going back to work on Monday, like everyone else,
Yeah, definitely. I hear that. So, mate, obviously we were chatting a little bit earlier on, and we've seen the mad links to Rasmus going to Roma. Like, that was that a shock for you over in Italy?
Yeah.
Like, it's really surprised me.
Yeah, it surprised me a lot, because actually, they are covered in that position too. They have spent 7 million euros last season to get Zeki Celik from Lille, former champion of France, and they have alternated during the season with Zalewski, who was left-footed but can play on the right too, and he's played 23 times on the right this season. And he's a very young player, product of their academy. He plays for Poland actually, but he's born in Italy, in Tivoli, near Rome. So, and they've Kastrup too. Probably Kastrup is gonna be sold, in the coming days. But yeah, I was surprised, because I think they're covered there. Yeah, they have Zalewski, they have Celik, so probably they plan to move Zalewski stably to the left flank, to the left as the left back, because there's a link of an interest in Spinazzola, the starting left back at Roma, to Saudi Arabia. I don't think they're very credible right now. Probably an interest, not serious interest at this point. But I was shocked, because I think they're pretty covered in that position. It came out of the blue,
Yeah. Do you know what the most shocking thing for me is? I think Rasmus is a rubbish footballer, so I don't get how he's getting a move. I genuinely thought he'd be in the Championship with us. Yeah, I'm really surprised that a club of Roma's stature are looking at Rasmus, man.
Yeah, they actually they were already into. They had an interest in him, and in last it was January 2022, the winter transfer window of 21-22. But RB Salzburg had asked them to. Their fee was around 50 million euros. And Roma thought that there was an high fee, too high for them. So they refused to push on the interest, and we got Rasmus in the summer after that, because he was set to go to Roma.
Okay,
they were already interested in him. So after they considered the fee too high for them, he went to Leeds in the summer because we were like the second club interested in him. And because Roma pulled out in the winter, in the summer we were able to get him actually. But yeah, like you said, I was surprised because we were expecting when he signed a striker, a right back with a lot of pace, physical, but his defense was terrible. His defense was terrible, especially when he played on his natural position.
Yeah.
He was better as a centre back actually.
Yeah, he was.
And but crossing too, no overlap at all. And I was reading the comments of Roma fans and also journalists in Italy too. They're saying that he is an offensive right back. Where he didn't cross, he didn't do one-on-ones, he didn't overlap. I don't know what
like,
games seen.
For me, defensively is woeful. We've seen that in the first game against Wolves. If you remember, I think Pedro Neto twisted him up. He went to ground early and they scored. Thankfully, we win. Well, don't matter anyway, but we won that game 2-1. But obviously, in that first game, he looked like a bit of a duck out of water. And as for going forward, Luke Ayling streets ahead of him in terms of going forward.
Absolutely. And he was one of the Marsh signings. Let's call it like that. One of the Marsh signings, but even Marsh said that he was struggling to adapt to Premier League football. But after that, like we've just said, he was better as a centre back actually, and he says everything.
Do you know? Obviously, they're linked to him. Do we have any idea of what kind of fee, or is it going to be a loan again with a view to a permanent? Like, how do we see it going?
No, I see it as a loan again, like the Llorente situation, a peculiar one, with a loan with an option to buy, not a mandatory an obligation to buy. So Llorente is around 8 million. The option to buy this season. Last season it was around
15, 18 maybe 15 to
80 million. 80. It was 18. Actually. So Roma considered that too high and didn't exercise that. But he was keen on return to Roma because he had a good time there. He working under Mourinho. He was often the first, second substitute in defense in the pecking order. But I honestly would have waited for an interest from a La Liga club actually, because maybe we could have looked for a permanent deal from a La Liga club like Osasuna, for example, those kind of clubs playing for mid-table or European places like the Conference League or Europa League finish.
I think a lot's been made though, Andrea, and a lot of people seen it as a negative, and I can see it in the chat tonight, and I've see it on social media. That just because these players are going out on loan, that we're poor negotiators, they should be going permanent, etc. But first and foremost, you have to have a willing buyer. You have to have someone who's going to agree to take them permanently. And if that buyer's not forthcoming, then you're probably going to get loan fees. You're probably going to you're going to have their wages off the books, which when you consider what kind of wages these lads are on, you can go and get an adequate championship replacement for a fraction of the price. So even what you save on wages for a player like Diego Llorente or for even Rasmus, who I believe is on around about 40k according to Capology, it's still a hell of a lot of money that can go elsewhere and improve the squad that is currently at championship level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't see it as a negative, honestly.
No,
first of all, it's a sign that things are moving behind the scenes. That they're starting to look at the squad, maybe because we know that next week is going to be crucial in terms of the takeover first and the manager second. So I think with the arrival of Aimon, they've started to look at the squad, look at the players. We have 3 right backs of the club: Christensen, Ayling, and Drame. My ideal order would be Drame, Ayling, and Christensen right now. Because when we discussed with Keep and Sell video, I said that we should have made a consideration about whether keeping Drame and then Ayling and Christensen too. Christensen, in my point of view, if that was the case, it should have been moved to the centre-back position.
Centre-back,
So I don't see it as a negative too, but we have to consider also the fact that they haven't played well this season, Llorente and Christensen, so their value has dropped. And there's no clubs willing right now at the moment to take them permanently.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we look to sell permanently, the fee will be lower than the one that we spent when we acquired them, when we buy them, of course.
Exactly.
So anyway, it's a loss. Looking at what we spent about Llorente and what we spent about Christensen, it's a loss.
Yeah.
We overvalued Christensen too, because the Austrian league is, in my opinion, apart from RB Salzburg, is crap.
Yeah, well, we've seen that. We've seen it with Brendan Aronson and Rasmus Christensen. Neither of them have really set the world alight. You could even look at, even when Jesse Marsh was there, right, and he had a front three of Haaland, Hwang Hee-chan, and Minamino. Minamino and Hwang Hee-chan both struggled in the Premier League. Really struggled. The Haaland's are just a totally different animal. But really, what kind of exports have we got from Salzburg that have come to the Premier League and lit it up? They're probably few and far between, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
You know, you mentioned Nick Hammond there and things going on behind the scenes. We're not party to these conversations, of course, but it makes you wonder, doesn't it, if they're trying to get the deal over the line to Llorente and then Hammond have said, or someone at the club's gone, do you have any interest in Rasmus? I know. Do you know what I mean? And then they've gone, oh, yeah, we'll take him on loan for sure. And they go, right, yeah, sound out the door. And like you said, we then only have 2 right backs, and we can maybe say to Cody, you are number 1 now. You're number 1, and Ayling will be the extra option there. And I think Luke Ayling will be fine with that as well. He's only got a year left on his deal. So I think I think, like you say, it's positive because maybe conversation did like that, something like that did happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you because it's with both clubs, I think, because we had three right backs, but Roma on the side, they revived an interest in a player that they liked back to 2021-2022, and especially they looking to sell Karsdorp, of course. So they have to replace Karsdorp because if Karsdorp is as a natural right back, they only have Salik. Apart from Zaleski, that the Mourinho usually adapts on the right too. So with Karsdorp going out, they have the opportunity to bring another right back in, the one that was monitored before, and we have the opportunity to, say to Drame, now it's your time.
Yeah.
Now it's your time. You've done one in the Championship twice with Cardiff and Luton, and now you wanted assurances because last time when he went to Cardiff, of course, Bielsa said that considering the injury crisis, he would have liked him to stay, and he complained. The first time probably Bielsa complained about the player, obviously, in a press conference. But it was a good move actually for him because he got the experience. He played in a league. Now he's accustomed to that league. Of course, I think people are still overrating him in a certain point because he is a very, very, very good player, very good. But it still needs to develop in certain sides of his game, because he doesn't do much one-on-one. He crosses a lot. He's very good at crossing. He crosses almost 50% of the time. He needs to be better in overlaps and one-on-one. And the defending is very good on the tackling, but in positioning sometimes he gets just a bit lost. But he's a very good prospect. Very good prospect and proven in the Championship too. And about Christensen, actually, because you asked me before, but I forgot to answer. I think, of course, long with an option to buy. I think there's no reports yet about the fee about the option to buy. But I think it's going to be around.
They can make it permanent at any time, can't they? During the loan, right?
Yeah, usually it's at the end of the season. Italian clubs usually have the option about the end of the season. It's not just like in England, when we had Elder Costa, for example, that we exercised that towards the end of the season. But it was different because the season went to July because of the COVID situation. But usually with Italian clubs, the option to buy has to be exercised in June at the end of the season. There's no way to exercise that during the season. Usually, there's exception right now coming up, especially at Sampdoria last season too. But I think it's going to be around 9-10 millions in my opinion, the option to buy.
It does say, like here on the piece, that Diallo Rossi, is it? Is that how I pronounce it?
Giallo Rossi.
Giallo Rossi. Took Morante. Yeah, on loan from Leeds in January, and sporting director Thiago Pinto has been in England to seal another loan deal for the Spaniard, and has also at that same time negotiated a loan agreement with Leeds for fullback Rasmus as well. So you'd imagine they're sat across the table, they're sorting this deal out, and then they've said, you know what? Do you want to take Rasmus as well? So it looks like it's going. According to Gazzetta del Sport, the loan agreement for Christensen will include an option for Roma to sign him on a permanent basis. It is unclear what level of fee the option to buy might be set at, but Roma will be able to keep Christensen if they want to. I think it's best for all parties, because for me, even with Ayling in his later years and Cody in his starter years, really, Rasmus is still the third choice left back for me. I think he's just not suited,
especially if Farke comes in too.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially and that's for the style of play.
It's quite interesting, and we believed that this would happen in terms of. I think Farke's got the job now. Okay, it's not officially been announced, but I think Farke knows. I think the club know who that man is now, right?
Yeah.
And we've said in messages to one another, as soon as the EFL goes through, as soon as the manager's announced, we will then see a lot of player exits. We'll see a lot of player incomings. We're still yet to hear loud noises about incomings, because as we have already established, this current ownership run a very, very tight ship. They do not leak nothing. They don't give the top journalist in the Leeds sphere any sort of noise, because we see when the Nick Hammond thing, it happened like that. No one had a clue. So maybe that's why we're not hearing a lot about incomings, because they're just very, very good at keeping things under wrap. But what we are seeing now is that there are going to be exits. And we knew Llorente was going, but we were all shocked with the Rasmus thing that came out of the blue. And another story that came out of the blue today, mate, and this again is staying in Italy, and it's come from a very credible source, though. You would have to imagine. You'll be able to tell us more, but I'll just quickly share this. So this tweet came out around about 4 o'clock today. This came from Damasio.
Yeah, Damasio is top tier, because he was like the teacher for all the other journalists in Italy. Like, Romano worked with him actually previously in the past when they were at Sky Sports. So it was like the ultimate, the original transfer guru, in Italy, Damasio, for years.
Exactly. So he's right at the top of the tree. That's why I don't really look at this and think there's nothing to it. I think there is a little bit to it that maybe Everton are keen. And obviously Damasio being an Italian, Gnonto being an Italian, it's something that for me, I don't know what you think, Andrea, might have legs.
Yeah, surely, because Damasio is usually 90% of the time, 95 to is usually on the on point, focused, and he has a lot of connections. He has loads of connections. He's even written a book. I've read it, of course, about all the transfer stories that he covered in the past, and there's some mad transfer news written in that book. I think it has legs. Of course, if the match reported it, but I really hope that if Gnonto wants to move, and if there's interest in Gnonto, and a Premier League club comes in and knocking, it's not Everton, because I don't think it'd be a good move for him. Honestly, looking at the style of play of Daesh, looking at the fact that probably they're gonna battle for relegation again. They're not a well-run club, and their fans say it too. They're not well-run. They protest against Moshiri too. Like I said the other times, I think a club like Brighton or a Bundesliga club might be the best solution for him. But considering our point of view, if a club comes and make an offer about Gnonto, we should set the price tag in that case. If we're looking to sell, because there'll be interest about him. He's had a good season, of course, still needs to develop a lot too, but he's still young, and it was his first season in the Premier League in England. I think if a club is interested in Gnonto, we should set the price and stick by that price, like Brighton do these days.
Well,
not lower the price.
He is a breaking news, hot off the press. Actually, mate, you won't have had a chance to to read this yet, but this has just come out again. I don't know, but apparently Leeds target Man United's Ahmed Diallo, who was previously on loan at Sunderland, for a potential swap deal. As maybe not directly with Manchester United, but I think it's more a case of that Leeds United are looking at Ahmed Diallo as a potential loan if Willy Gnonto does exit. If we actually read, it says Leeds are on the trail of Manchester United winger Ahmed as they look to win a quick-fire return to the Premier League. With Jack Harrison and Italian flyer Gnonto eyeing the Ellen Road exit door after relegation back to the Championship, a loan move for Ivory Coast star Ahmed has emerged as a possibility as they look for wide area options. And this is, just before we go on this is the whole point of clickbait titles. That looks like they're presenting a swap deal for Gnonto and Ahmed Diallo, but that's not what it is.
To the red side of Manchester.
Exactly. What it is if Gnonto is sold, if Harrison is sold, then of course Leeds United could well look to bring in Ahmed Diallo. Just the rest of the news. It says Ivory Coast international Ahmed, 21 next month, spent last season on loan at Sunderland. Scored 14 goals for Mowbray's side, and reports suggest the youngster would happily return to try and win promotion, who were beaten in the playoffs by eventual winners last month. Obviously came with a big fee from Atalanta. What do you make to that? Do you think Leeds United could come in? Would that be a smart move? I think it would. I mean, he lit it up last season. Yeah, for sure.
He will, but like you just read, I think he's very keen on returning to the Stadium of Light, because I think they're moving well on the market. They just acquired Joost Bellingham and the Dutch defender. I don't remember the name now, but he's a good player too. Maybe I can check the name later. He's not coming to my mind right now. But yeah, Ahmed Diallo, I really like him as a player, but I think the move to Man United was too early for him to establish and get first team football there, because at Atalanta he wasn't a start. He got some games, actually played well. Atalanta wanted to keep him till the end of the season before he moved to Man United, but unfortunately I think he wanted to move to England very quickly. It would have suited him it would have helped him in his development, staying in Atalanta till the end of the season. I like him. I like how he moves. He's developed a lot. He's had a breakthrough season this year at Sunderland, because at Rangers I think he played some good games, but sometimes he struggled. He's a different league, different level of physicality, of course, in Scotland. But I will like him, of course, if one of the players, as probably will happen, one of the wingers is sold. Exits our club. Actually, about Ahmed Diallo, I'll tell you this story. Actually, I live in Reggio Emilia, and his first grassroots club, because he moved from Ivory Coast to Italy as a youngster, is near my hometown. Actually, it's called Boca Barco. So he started playing here, and then was first to Empoli and then Atalanta.
Right. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I see again a lot of negativity in the chat. I think if people are expecting Leeds to be signing, like, I don't know, like, look, I guess my point is, I feel that people believe Leeds United's standing currently is bigger than what it is. This is what I think anyway. I've seen a lot of negativity around the manager. Again, don't understand it. Farke's a good manager. Arguably plays the best football out of the ones that have been linked, and has a history of winning this division 2 times over. Like we spoke yesterday, 97 points, 94 points. It ain't no joke. Now we're seeing exits, and then people are unhappy with maybe Leeds looking at a loan for Diallo, etc. For me, it makes sense. You try and keep a core group. You buy players, and you also loan as well. And when you move up, then you look to make things permanent. You know what I mean? I think Leeds United need to just get themselves ready for this season and move the best way. And I think if Gnonto is to leave, because like's been reported from a very reputable source that will have legs to it, there are clearly people sniffing around Gnonto.
Yeah.
So it's highly likely he could leave, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because let me tell you this, because there's a lot of people that are saying. I said in the past that Gnonto, in my opinion, isn't staying because with the Euro 2024 on the horizon, he'll be struggling to get into the Italian squad if we qualify, of course, because he will be playing the second tier. Italy don't have an history of calling out players when they play in the second tier. They only call out players playing in the top tier. And, there's the reference of when he was first called up when he was at Zurich. But that specific call-up, the specific squad was the first squad after we failed to qualify for the World Cup, after the elimination by the hands of North Macedonia, And Mancini said, I had to call up players from, because they asked him that. I had to call certain players because in Italy, we don't have young players playing in Serie A. So it was like a signal, a message it was sending to the Serie A clubs. We have good players, but these young good players aren't playing in Serie A. You should trust those young good players. There were Zerbin from Frosinone and Gatti from Frosinone. Now Zerbin plays for Napoli and Gatti plays for Juventus. There were Salvatore Esposito from Spal, Serie B, all three Serie B clubs, and now he's playing for Spezia that have just been relegated. So he's back in Serie B. And Gnonto from Zurich, who actually moved to Leeds after that transfer window. So it was a very specific situation. The last player from Serie B, from a second tier, called up in Italian squad was Massimo Maccaroni. Actually, when he played at Empoli before moving to Boro, actually.
Middlesbrough,
yeah. So I think Gnonto will leave for that specific reason, because there's Euro 2024 on the horizon, and it may be the same for Christensen actually, because Christensen has lost his position in the Denmark squad. He was the starter at the World Cup, but was barely called up after one of the players got injured in one of the latest squad. He wasn't called up the first time, but he was a backup. Then one of the players got injured, he was called into the squad. But they have to fight for their places if the nations qualify for the Euros,
Yeah, of course. And as much as I'd like to keep Gnonto, there will be a lot of clubs coming for him. Magnus asks a good question. He says, Harrison, Gnonto, Somerville and Sinistera, if you had to get rid of two, who would it be?
Honestly, Somerville and Harrison. I'll keep Gnonto and Sinistera. Okay. That will be my two, because Harrison is good, but he's good when he has space. In my point of view, he's a very, he's a lead for a number of years right now, so he's a regular in the squad, of course. He had a great season, 2021 with Bielsa. I think he had the highest contribution in goals in the build of goals that season in the Premier League. Also was one of the with the highest level in that specific stat. Then I think he is good when he has space, when there's depth, when he can attack the area. But sometimes when he is with his back to the goal, he struggles and just stumbles a lot with the ball. And looking at between Gnonto and Somerville, I think Gnonto is ahead of Somerville right now. So that's my reason. And he can play in various positions, like we've seen with the Italian T21s.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd get rid of Gnonto and Somerville, which might be quite surprising for some, but I'm a massive fan of Jack Harrison, and I think Sinistera's elite. The reason I say that is because it's all about the here and now, and I think Harrison and Sinistera are ready to go. If we could keep two, the realistic, if we're being realistic,
the realistic will be that, of course. Yeah, was my point of view in terms of quality.
No, but I even think there's a conversation to be had, Andrea, that none of them will be at the football club come the start of the season.
Yeah, I think probably just some will be at the club.
Yeah.
Because Sinistera maybe, but of course Lerma, Colombian international, was playing for Bournemouth and was playing for the national team, but he hadn't break through, yet in like he did this season with Bournemouth, getting a move to Crystal Palace. So it was a different situation. Sinistera is already established. He had many offers when he was at Feyenoord. He had just played a European final in the Conference League, then moved to the Premier League. He was meant to be his next level, going from a top tier, one of the top clubs in the Netherlands, just having played a whole European campaign and playing in the final of the Conference League to the Premier League. So it would be a downgrade playing in the Championship.
He won't stay, unfortunately. I think even if he got a return back to Holland, You know what I mean? Like, and Slot would take him back straight away, wouldn't he? He'd take him back. So, yeah, look, there's going to be a lot more happening over the next week or so, I'd imagine. Manager next week, and then we'll see more sort of links, and then really the transfer merry-go-round will stick into full swing. Now, what I want to do is just bring up this one. I just want to finish up on this now. This has been linked in the past hour or so. Joel Pirro, Leeds United have been linked to Joel Pirro. This comes from Alfonso Leocadia,
Alfonso
Leocadia, who said that Leeds United are very interested in signing Swansea striker Joel Pirro alongside Premier League clubs. Departures are being worked on as we speak, but incomings will be worked on once the new manager is appointed, as expected. There's nothing in there really of note. I think for me,
yeah, it was mate. It's easy to link us to Pyro. Let's just say that. Like it's easy to link us with Gyökeres, because if you look at the past, we were linked with Gyökeres and Pyro in the past too. Gyökeres in January and Pyro in September. So about this is easy. To if you want to try and give an exclusive, you just have to look at the past players linked with the Leeds United and saying that we're not getting Gyökeres. Let's go and check one of the other great strikers in the league, and that's Pyro. So it's very easy to come up with that name. From my point of view,
we've discussed this before off air, me and you. I mean, I don't take a lot of what this guy says as being incredible at all. There is a lot of journalists out there, or pretend to be journalists, the likes of Ekrem Corner and this guy here. This guy 2 weeks ago, when he did another Leeds story, in his bio he did news for Newcastle and Galatasaray, right?
Yeah, that's why they called him the ridicule of
exactly. And then he started to get a lot of Leeds traction. Then all of a sudden, this Galatasaray link, that's not in his bio anymore.
Yeah, because of course, when he tweeted the first time about Leeds, there were loads of us of Leeds fans in the comments saying, "But why are you retweeting about Leeds? If you pretend to follow Galatasaray, we know for the history that's between the two clubs." And actually, people used to say, about Galatasaray, my opinion, my point of view is that I don't respect them as a club too. I just don't respect not the fans too, but the clubs too, because they never condemned what happened in Istanbul. The club too. The club never condemned what happened. Never condemned their own fans. So he was reporting on Galatasaray because, of course, we know Turkish fans are very keen, like the "come to Besiktas," when you read every time under the comments. Then after what he tweeted about Leeds, Leeds fans started getting this comment, so he changed. And after the backlash about Galatasaray, he cancelled Galatasaray and put just only Newcastle, the two.
But if he actually was a journalist and he actually was working and getting news for Galatasaray and Newcastle, he wouldn't remove it.
Exactly.
It's clear. Like we were talking about it before, there's the writer Colin Miller
for the Mirror,
who spoke about Ekrem Corner and other journalists that just come alive. Look, we've seen it, and I spoke to this guy in DMs. Ekrem Corner follows me. I've spoken to him in DMs, but again, I think they use maybe content creators and stuff to retweet stuff so that it gets to their fan base, etc. So they know what they're doing. I think they all just want to be the next Fabrizio Romano. But I think, just to finish up, we seen the so-called interview with Victor Orta. Now I spoke to Ibrahim, who put this out, and he shared with me the account that he'd spoken to Victor on. Now, a child could have noticed that it wasn't Victor Orta, right? I'm telling you, as soon as he sent me it, I went, "Bro, that's fake." And he went, "Really?
It's not how it works in journalism. I've worked in journalism, of course. You have to get when I worked in journalism, my editor had a whole book of phone numbers of the people that we needed to contact in football, even going back to years and years. So when, of course, for my local club, Reggiana, playing in the third tier and the second tier. Where there was a link, we usually went into this notebook with all the numbers and tried to contact the manager, the reported manager, or his agent, and try to see if there was a reality in the links. Is how it works, you have to get in link, not through Twitter. Come on, not through Twitter accounts. You have to go through accountability, 2 years of research. It's how it works. But about that too, I don't have trust in this, of course, because if you search Joe Weinman on Joe Weinman Leeds on Google, articles come up about you. If you search Andrea Russo or Reggio Media, the articles I've worked in the past, or the articles when I resigned for my former club Reggiana came up. You can find them on Google. If you type Alfonso Leocadia, nothing comes up. Nothing comes up about media outlets reporting it. And he even said, even in his bio, now he's cancelled that to fake name. So it's not even his real name, Alfonso Leocadia. And think about the whole picture. A Portuguese journalist reporting on a Turkish club in Istanbul and a Geordie club, a club in the turn,
When you actually put it like that, it's quite funny, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not against other people, actually.
No.
Because I give him trust, but actually, if you look at the Twitter account, it's just, reporting and quoting the source, which is good, of course, because you obviously have to quote the source and the other media. But when he comes up with exclusive on things like that, the just exclusive about Leeds are the 49ers are about to take over. We all knew that.
Yeah.
Everybody, the YUP had tweeted that, the Fila had tweeted that. It was crystal clear, nothing new. And right now, Joel Pirro, if you go back, of course, Leeds were already interested in him. Of course, if we don't get another striker, probably is one of the profiles. The 49ers are looking at the managers that have won the championship in the past. They might look at the strikers that have played and won the championship too. It's how the stats and data work. So it's pretty logic.
Yeah.
But in my point of view, of course, it's my opinion. You may disagree, and people in the comment may disagree too.
Yeah,
it's the beauty of the debate,
Yeah, I sent it you and we were chatting about it, and I think when you called him the Harry Kuehl of journalism, I was like, yo, that's good.
Yeah, but just maybe in the future, the ultimate proof might be inviting him, but I don't think he will accept you because, of course, he doesn't have his face on his profile and he uses another name, so I don't think he'll have to unleash his cover, right now.
Yeah.
But
I agree. It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Right. So let's make some predictions, right?
Yeah.
Will Rasmus Christensen play for Leeds again?
I don't think Roma will exercise the option to buy. But I think we'll look for another loan, and I hopefully, because of course the Serie A gets you more exposure, and it's not like the situation of Llorente, where Llorente has ahead of him Ibanez, Indica, Ibanez, Mancini, Smalling, and of course now Indica, Kumbulla. Yeah, so there's a lot of players ahead of him. So I think Llorente, they're not exercising the option to buy, and we'll have to loan him out again, just like another Elder Costa situation until his contract runs out, in the future. Christensen maybe will have more opportunities because they just have Celik. But as I said, Mourinho has the tendency of playing Zalewski on the right too, and he plays quite well because he's left-footed, so he goes through with central cuts and central runs. He doesn't go to the corner, so I think they won't exercise the option to buy, but we may try to secure a permanent deal with another club, not Roma, next summer.
Yeah, no.
Because he'll play, have opportunities. Roma won't exercise the option to buy, in my view. Then we will try, but we will try to sell him to another club permanently because he'll have a certain amount of opportunities in Serie A, not enough to get permanently in Roma, but maybe another club in Italy too, or in the Bundesliga will take a look at him,
Yeah, no, exactly. So he'll play enough to get another move, and like you say, with Llorente, he's coming to the twilight end of his career, so maybe struggle with Willy Gnonto. I think we both at this moment in time think he probably will move on. Do you think it'll be to Everton?
I don't think it'll be to Everton, honestly. I don't think it's not the right word actually, because I don't hope he moves to Everton. It's the right one. But Di Marzio's reporting, and so there's, like we said, there's legs. But hopefully he considers the world picture, the world situation, and they look, if they decide to move with his agent too, he looks for another club. I think the Zerbi with Brighton, of course, might be an admirer. And if Brighton comes knocking, I think it'd be the best solution for him. Looking at the clubs in the Premier League right now, I don't think he'll fit in at Everton, honestly. Because if you look at the other players, maybe McNeil, there's a lot of ups and downs, of course, at Everton, and the style of play of Dyche doesn't suit them, in my point of view. And he won't suit for sure Gnonto.
Yeah, I think on the Gnonto stuff, I think if it gets anywhere close to being a completed deal at Everton, then straight away other clubs will come in. If clubs further up the league, even someone like Palace, even some, around, even someone like Brentford, I just feel that if they feel that Everton are getting close to a deal, they'll definitely try and entertain it.
And you know what, Joe? Actually, I think AC Milan too, probably.
You think, yeah?
Yeah, maybe a club I can see have an interest in him can be AC Milan, because basically right now they've changed the whole behind the scenes structure. I think Joyce can still hear me, so I'm continuing to talk. They've changed the whole behind the scenes structure with the Maldini outgoing and Moncada becoming from the chief scout to director of football. And they basically looking at. Have you heard me say all this time? Yeah. Okay. So Moncada is the new director of football, and they've tried to sign Thuram from with a free transfer from Gladbach, but Inter have hijacked that, and they're getting Thuram instead. And they're looking at Frattesi too, but Inter are trying to hijack that too. And Brahim Diaz is returned to Real Madrid, so they're looking at young players' profiles, like of course Frattesi, and another one that has been rumored and linked to them is Cataldi right now from Lazio. But I think they have to replace, of course, a Brahim Diaz. So maybe, and with the Catalari struggling, it might be a profile to look at. Yeah,
for sure. Right, we will have to end it there because my little boys woke up as well, but we're bringing it to an end anyway. Folks, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell, and we will see you tomorrow. Andrea, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Joe.
Joe.
We'll see you on the other side, folks. 1 second.